Hey guys, it's Tim Gillette with Tim Gillette Show, and we're back with another one of our 100 interviews in 30 days. And you know what? I've actually found this guy to be one of the most interesting people I've met over the last couple of weeks. Literally, I did not know this guy a month ago, and he was speaking at an event that we were both doing, a virtual event we were both speaking at. And I was like, man, this guy just is so cool. And I realized, like, I live in far north Dallas and he lives in Louisville. And we could, I think we can go outside and probably play catch to each other some days, I think. But I thought, wait a minute, how do I not know this guy in my backyard? So I met Larry Roberts through Super Joe Pardo, which you guys have seen me saying, giving a lot of shout outs to Joe recently for a lot of things that Joe has influenced me with. And we're going to have Joe at our conference. But, man, Joe introduced me to Larry, and I just had to get this guy on my podcast. So let me bring him on here. What up, Larry?
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Great to be here.
It is good to hang out with you, man. You are just so life is just all good.
I put on a good front. I'll put it that way. Let's just say that, no, man. It is, it's a garden, dig it. Isn't that what he said?
Joe Dirt, baby. He's my hero.
Man. Yeah. Well, Tim, man, seriously, it's great to be here. I really appreciate it. It was great meeting you through Joe's event, 2 weeks ago. Did you present this past weekend?
This past weekend, I did not because I had other stuff going on. I did just put submission in for his next one, though. Yeah,
I did too, but I don't know if he's going to have me back because we were talking a bit in the green room there, and sounded like I was talking like the whole time. Like I was underwater and it was just bubbling. Yeah. I don't know what the problem was. I mean, I consider myself a pro, but maybe not.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I'm hearing this from a lot of people right now. It's like, you realize, everybody on your block is trying to get out like traffic jam on this little bitty cord.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think that's causing a lot of problems. You're hearing a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going live right now, and you hear a whole lot of the interference or the warbling effect, when people are talking and they're cutting out completely. And I think you're right. I think we're just crushing the bandwidth that's being used right now is at record levels.
Yeah. And you know what? The neat thing about it is guys like you and me, right, Joe, we know how to do things that we're still going to, at the end of this, we're going to stand out. Most of the people are going to get frustrated with all that stuff and go back and find another job and quit.
Yeah.
Right? And we can't.
I kicked rocks for a good couple of hours after that presentation that I did on Saturday. And then my wife looked at me. She goes, look, it's one presentation, dude. Yeah. And, I played it back and it's not terrible, but it's not my best work. You know what I mean? So anyways.
So yeah, I had someone on, you know what I mean? I've done so many of these interviews over the past 2 weeks. I had someone who was talking to me about their first speaking gig, or they had like a bad set of speaking gigs and there were like 3 in a row.
Yeah.
All right. And they're like, oh crap. And they're like, you know what? It's just, it was Larry Broughton last Saturday. And he was talking about, I had to get up and get past it. I can't, if I come to this one worried about the last one, well, I'm going to make this one another one, and it's going to continue as a chain. All right. And we can't do that. We got to keep going. So, but anyway, it's so you live here in the Dallas area. I wish we could go out and have coffee or a beer together, but we can't.
Well, we definitely will when this is all over and they let us loose again. We'll definitely get together and hang out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Yeah, we're really not that far from each other. I'm like Frankfurt Tollway area.
Okay. So, yeah. Not far at all. I mean,
I could be George Bush, I think, to your part of town in like 7 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But me getting out of town is making it to the George Bush freeway. So that's about as far out as I normally get. But, for you, I'd make an exception.
So tell me, you kind of grew up in this area, though, didn't you?
Well, actually, I grew up further north Texas. I grew up in the Sherman Denison area, which is kind of, not kind of. It's a lot more rural, if I can say rural, than the DFW area. And they started growing for a while, but from the looks of things, last time I was up there, not really growing that much now. So I grew up there. I lived in a trailer park my whole life, went to a private school, which is kind of kind of a weird combination. Grew up in a trailer park, but went to private school, so that was kind of a weird deal.
It's called Oklahoma, dude. Oh,
yeah. we're just on this side of Oklahoma, so it's really, really close. But yeah, man. So it was an adventure. I grew up basically out in the country, and it was great. Fishing and swimming all summer in the stock ponds and all that kind of stuff, and getting in as much trouble as we possibly can, but nothing too serious. So
yeah, you were right up there on Texoma Lake, practically. Yeah.
That is correct. I was born the hospital I was born in. It's just like, I don't know, 2 miles from the lake. It's just right there. I mean, she could have had me in the lake and everything would have been fine, probably. Yeah. So yeah, I grew up on Lake Texoma and had a blast up there every summer, heading out to Grandpappy Point and Burns Run and Eisenhower State Park and all those great places that are up there. And as I got older, I started fishing up there and having a good time, and always knew somebody with a boat, because that's kind of a secret if you live near a lake. Didn't own my own, but if you got friends, you don't have to pay for all the repairs either, so it works out.
That's always a better way. What kind of fish you catching up there?
Mostly stripers. I mean, they introduced stripers into that lake, golly, man, I think in the 60s or 70s, and they just really went rampant. And you can still find some black bass up there and some crappie. Crappie's pretty good up there too, but mostly stripers. And if you do, there's one of my favorite places up there, and it's actually at the dam, at the Denison Dam. And when they open the floodgates, not only would tons of water come through, but some of the biggest fish would come through those floodgates as well. So on the river side, the Red River side, the dam separates the Red River from Lake Texoma, and they'd open it up and you'd be flowing into the Red River. So we're up here on the dam, literally. It's got, there's a concrete embankment that goes up 50 feet. And the angle's not very steep because they don't want people falling down. So it's a really, really, really long ramp. Well, everybody would line up on the railing of this ramp and up at the top as well. And if you got a fish on, like at the top of the ramp, you got to start yelling, "Fish on, fish on, fish on." And you had to fight your way down the hill so that you could land your fish, because they're way too big to be pulling up the side of the dam. Because I mean, you're literally pulling them up like 50, or 60 feet, a long ways. And we called that combat fishing, because there were some guys that were pretty rough about it. They would bring scissors, and if you didn't get out of the way fast enough, they're like, "Fish on," snip, 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 as they went down the line, and you just lose your you lose
wow.
Yeah, there was some good times. So
I mean, yeah, we lived. My wife's father had a place down on South Irving Lake, a small like HOA lake, and it was a big bass fishing crew. Down there. I never was into it. I mean, I grew up fishing as a kid. My dad was like the big lakes. We lived northeast, so we went to Lake Erie, up the Great Lakes. Yeah. And I never got into it. It wasn't me.
I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't do it now much as an adult, but if somebody said, "Hey, you want to go fishing?" I'd come along.
Yeah. It's fun times. So
yeah.
So you moved down here closer to the city. All right. You got out of Oklahoma and moved down to civilization, is what we would say down here.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And you get down here. All right. Did you come down here for a job in the beginning, or did you just come down here and go, "You know what, I'm going to start business and do it all me down here"?
No, man, I came down here for a job, and I worked at Texas Instruments at the time up there in Sherman, and I wanted to get to the big city, wanted to get out of Oklahoma, as you keep calling it.
Yeah.
But it was still Texas, brother.
Yeah, it was.
But I wanted to get down to the big city and get me a condo and all kinds of stuff, and live like they live in the movies. And I landed me a gig at a place in Coppell, which was quite a trek from Sherman. But for the first few weeks, I actually did the commute from Sherman to Coppell, and that was less than fun. So I snagged me an apartment in Plano. And it's ironic that I live in Louisville, because I've told this story before, but even as a kid, I would come through Louisville on my way to Six Flags, the amusement park, and we'd come down Business 121, which has never been nice. I mean, I think even when it was brand new, it wasn't nice, right?
Yeah.
But we would come through there, and I said it on the bus every time we'd come through: I will never live in Louisville. I will never live in Louisville. And the first place and only place I've ever bought a house, Louisville. So I'm not proud of it. I mean, I don't say it with pride, but here I am. So
I have a dividing. For me, it's Carrollton.
Yeah.
I worked in Carrollton when I first moved here, and I worked, if you remember, on I-35 and Beltline, there used to be this huge, long gray building.
Okay.
Was a truck repair shop. I ran it when I first moved here. It's gone now. They expanded the highway and tore the building down finally. But like, I swear, I mean, anytime when we bought this condo up here, no, Carrollton, nope. Got to be over the line. I'd rather live in Dallas than Carrollton. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's, the thing that makes it worse and kind of an insult to injury is the fact that I live literally one side of the street of the main thoroughfare is Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
The other side is Flower Mound.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that may not know that are listening, Flower Mound, that's kind of the affluent little town that's, everything over there is really nice, really brand new, and everybody picks up their trash off the sidewalk, and it's just so perfect. But yet here on this side, yeah, it's Louisville. So. But
wait a minute. Don't we all, though, in life have another side of the tracks we don't want to talk about?
Yeah. It could be worse. I could literally live on the other side of the track. So at least I'm thankful for where I'm at, man. It's it took us a while. It took us, 15 years or so, but we finally got the place that, exactly like we like it. And the wife and I and the 2 dogs, we're just chilling. So it's all good. So
you were working for, what was it? Texas Instruments, did you say? No. Yeah.
Yeah. I was at TI at Texas Instruments. I was a corporate trainer there. So speaking and presenting and all of those sorts of things have always been my focus.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, is TI even around anymore?
Oh yeah.
I haven't been over there in a while. No, even though if they're still there. I remember the big building at like 635 and 75 area.
Right. And as far as I know, that one's still rocking. I mean, that was kind of the main building, but even the one in Sherman is still up and running strong. Now, it was interesting because they built another building. They had a partnership with a company called MEMC, and they manufactured and distributed large silicon wafers.
Mm-hmm.
Part of TI, they manufacture and distribute smaller sized silicon wafers for making computer chips and calculators and all that fun stuff that they're known for. And they built this state-of-the-art building. And right after I left, they closed down, and the building's been vacant ever since. So I don't even know how much money they put into this thing. It was they had a class 1 room in there, which you've probably seen the Intel commercials where you got to wear the ninja suits, and they're in there. Yeah. This was the class 1, which is 1,000 times cleaner than a hospital operating room. If you had to sneeze or any other orifice release, you had to get down on the floor and do it on the floor. Mm-hmm. Smokers had to take 15 minutes just to make sure all the particles were off their face from the cigarettes that they were smoking, because you couldn't have these particles of whatever it may be landing on these wafers. They had to be super, super, super clean. And so just the manufacturing of that building, I can't imagine the expenses that were involved. Mm-hmm. But now it just sits there. It looks like like something out of a zombie movie.
Well, that's probably where they're filming the next zombie movie. I don't know.
They very well could.
So, how long were you there? When did you leave that and transition out? Where did you go next?
I left TI for a company called Standard Motor Products. Mm-hmm. Manufacture and distribute aftermarket components for automobiles, supplying people like AutoZone, Pep Boys, O'Reilly's, that sort of thing. And
you mean Rock Auto now? You see the commercials for Rock Auto?
But I started working there as a corporate trainer, and I was supposed to be just a pit stop. Coppell was going to be a pit stop to downtown Dallas, and that pit stop has lasted 21 years. So a long pit stop.
Are you still working for the company as a trainer, or are you all independently on your own? No.
Yes, I still work for the company. I normally don't make that public, but we're live. So yeah, I work for the company. So don't tell anybody, please. Everybody that's watching, I'll run out and tell everybody, Larry works for Standard. Larry works for Standard.
Nah. It's one of those things that, it's like, there's a transition period to where you built what you do with your company that you and I had talked about, but are through. But I mean, there's always a transition. And most of the time it's the COVID virus came through and I had to find a way to start my own business.
Good luck. Good luck. I mean, even though, with Readily Random, I still have some jobs that are coming in, but they're nothing like they were. And, the hopes of expanding are dimmer and dimmer each day, but not to bring the conversation down or anything, but it makes it tough. I mean, if you're self-employed right now, especially in an industry like podcasting or independent business coach or a life coach or whatever kind of coach, people aren't spending money on stuff like that right now.
They're gonna, yeah, it's one of those things. Well, I mean, it's one of those things that are going to drop, but I've not stopped my marketing. I still market the same way.
Well, I believe you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. And right now you're doing a great thing with the 100 interviews over 30 days. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Man, that is amazing, because why? It's keeping you out there. It's keeping you in front. People are going to remember Tim Gillette when they forget about whoever else it may be, because you're in their face all the time and you're keeping it going, which is exactly why I'm hitting things as hard as I hit it. I want to be up front. If there's somebody that's slacking, you better watch out, brother, because I'm gonna bump you. I mean, that's the goal, right?
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, you find this probably in this too, is the ones who know how to market and do things right, and they continue doing it right. All right. When this is said and done, you know what I mean? The people who couldn't do it right, they're going to clear themselves out, and it'll make more space for you and I.
Well, and that's awesome. And that's true. I have people coming to me right now going, Larry, can I start a podcast and start making money? I need a side job. What? No, no, you can't start a podcast on Saturday and start making money on Monday. No, now you can if you laid the groundwork, but you can't just flip the switch and say, I have a podcast now, start paying me.
Yeah.
It don't work that way. People are giving away content right now just to keep themselves out front. They're not trying to charge for anything. Unless some people, they still charge, my coaches, but we won't talk about them on air. No, I love it.
No. Well, no, in a way, you know what I mean? I actually have one of my marketing coaches and mentors is still running campaigns.
Yeah.
He has not stopped. The other thing is I'm doing an event here in a couple of weeks, and I decided to keep it a ticket to enter for $20.
Right.
I decided not to give it away for free, but I do something different. Is that $20 is, number one, $10 covers my expenses to run the event. The other $10 is going to a local charity.
Oh, see, that's perfect. Yeah.
Nice. That's what we need to do, because I'm donating half of that freaking money. I'm not paying myself for my expenses to run the event, and then I'm giving the money to I'm looking at workers here in Dallas, but we'll see. Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's an awesome thing to do. And like I said, you're doing it right. You're keeping yourself out there. You're engaging with 100 different people. That's amazing. Yeah. Imagine all the relationships that you're building, and relationship building is ideal for right now. When those people that have relationships still flourish and they thrive. Without relationships and ongoing relationships with folks, you're just left stranded. You're out there on an island all by yourself.
Yeah. So, and in this period of time, all right, Larry, have you gotten any? I mean, I've gotten a few, but have you gotten any of you know what I mean? You can tell the desperation starting to sink in by the sales call they're making you.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. And they're making less expensive offers. They're much more persistent.
Yeah.
What can I do to change your mind? What can I do to earn your business today? That kind of thing. I remember I sold cars in the early 90s, and that was our line.
Yeah.
What can I do to earn your business today?
Yeah. I didn't know you went to the car sales thing too. Oh
yeah, man. I see. Here's the thing. I don't have a degree or anything. I'm just well-spoken when my voice is not acting up, but I came right out of high school, and I don't know why, but I wanted to sell cars. I mean, I just knew I was going to be like the Robin Williams from the used car sales movie that he did. Right. And I think it was called Used Cars, but anyway, I just knew it, and I couldn't get a dealership to hire me. And I kept going back to this one dealership, Red River Chrysler, Plymouth Dodge Jeep Eagle. They're out of business, so it's not a plug. But I kept going back there. And finally, man, after the fourth or fifth time, they said, look, kid, we're just going to hire you, and see what you can do. And I stayed in the car business there and made a great friend and the sales manager there. Had an awesome run for about 3.5 years or so. And then I got out of the car business because it's awesome, but at the same time, it's a lifestyle. And if your lifestyle doesn't revolve around eating, sleeping, breathing, everything at the dealership, you're costing yourself money. And that kind of got in the way of some other things. I was in my early 20s. So I'm like, I ain't got time for this. I got to do other things. I got to chase ladies and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I was into Harleys, and like all my friends who work the Harley store are like, I'm like, well, how do you like working at the Harley shop? Well, I never get to ride. I get to watch all you guys ride, but I never get to ride because I'm here working all the time, and that's what it is. But in what you do now, do you? I mean, I'm curious. Do you work all the time? I mean, I'm working all the
No,
time.
I mean,
Right
I'm a, you know, I'm a 40-hour-a-week guy. I mean, I'm salary, so to say I'm 40 hours a week is a bit of a misnomer. I'm when they need me type scenario, but most of the time it's a 40-hour work week, and like that's why we had to put this off till 5. 5 was when I had to snag it because I get off at 5.
Yeah.
For some reason, live video, me being live on a podcast during the day, doesn't set real well with management. I don't know what the problem is there. So
Yeah. I don't know what it is with those people, who sign paychecks. I mean, they actually
so
want you to work
demanding,
for them.
so demanding. It's ridiculous. So
So you're doing some podcasts and stuff now. Tell me about some of the podcasts that you've done over the years.
well, I've had 2 of my own shows. I have Readily Random now, obviously. I'm quite I believe in branding. So I, the hat, the hoodie, the mic flag, the little logo in the corner there that you're covering with my name. And I mean, not to say my cup. I mean, so, no, but man, my first podcast was called, here you go, brace yourself. Accidentally the Whole Tip.
How did you get away with that?
You did, bro. I mean, it was what it was. So that was my first podcast, and it was a less than clean comedy podcast. My co-host at the time, his name's Jamie Gravy. Now he's open for the likes of Eddie Griffin and some other high-profile comedians. So he left the show to pursue comedy full time, and he's crushing it right now. So I'm very proud of his progress. But yeah, it was a show that we ran for, I don't know, 125, 150 episodes. We took it live on stage at one of the clubs here locally. We took it to internet radio down in Deep Ellum. We were on a radio station out of there, and we were just crushing it, man. I mean, it was so much fun, and we were having such a great time, but some of the content, was a little questionable. And there, from more of a innuendo perspective, we never crossed any kind of lines as far as racism or any kind of insults to any kind of ethnic group or nothing. We knew the boundaries, right? Yeah. But when it came to topics about sex, there really weren't any boundaries. Wow. And so we crossed the line a few times, and some folks that I'm still affiliated with said, dude, I can't tell you to stop it, but I don't really support it. So I thought, you know what I need to do? I need to pull back. And also at the same time, I went through rehab because I was an alcoholic. And yes, I'm one. I say was because I don't drink now, and I have no desire to drink. I don't go to meetings or anything like that, so I don't consider myself an alcoholic. Now, I do consider myself to have an addictive personality, so I get passionate about everything that I do, and I always want to do it to the best of my possible ability. Sometimes even when I don't have the ability. I never could play ball for shit, but I still love to play. Yeah. But the thing was I quit that, and I wanted something that contributed back, that gave back to society a little bit more than some dirty podcast that can be easily replicated. So I started Readily Random, and I started Readily Random originally to tell stories of those that have recovered, whether it be drugs or whether it be alcohol, whatever it was, just stories of recovery, positive stories, just anything uplifting. And that's cool. And that's a great endeavor. But I found that for me, it made it extremely difficult to keep doing it, because while I kept talking to those that also had similar recovery stories, it was kind of weighing heavily on my shoulders because I couldn't get out from under it. It's like, okay, man, I walked away from that stuff. So now, and although I know you've walked away from it too, I'm constantly bombarded by the stories, I did this, I did that. And at times I felt myself trying to one up their story. And that's not what it's all about, bro. Right. I mean, I was off on the wrong path, but at the same time, it just got to be too much. It got to be too burdensome to hear those stories. So I started branching out. I mean, hell, the name's Readily Random, right? So I started just reaching out to people. I still get questions. How do I find guests for my show, Larry? Where do I find guests? Nobody wants to come on my show. I started going to Amazon and finding authors that wrote about a topic that I loved, that I thought was cool. And you reach out to them, and guess what? I don't know that I ever got denied. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll be right there when you want me on. This would be great. Thank you so much. And so I rode that for a while. And I mean, I had people on here like Joe Navarro, who is an FBI body language expert that literally saved the country in the early 80s. He stopped us from getting our getting hit with Russia's nuclear arsenal by like, I don't know, days, hours, something ridiculous. And it all started with he was talking to a suspect and he asked him a question and the guy, his cigarette twitched. And he says, Larry, right then I knew that he had more information than what he was given. And he chased this guy down for 10 years and finally nailed him, finally got the secrets that he had intercepted and he was selling to the Russians. And we would have got our butts kicked if it hadn't been for that. So it's pretty awesome. Great story, great podcast. He's on here as well. So check him out on readilyrandom.com. But it went from Joe Navarro to actors to singers to you name it. I mean, I've had some actors from Ozark have been on the show, and the list just goes on and on. Most of them are really great stories of people that have done either great things or are doing great things or are trying to do great things. And it's just an uplifting opportunity for people to come and share their story.
It's cool. And I love it that you actually said really random. And I just reached out to people and hardly anybody said no. And it's like, yeah, I'm doing this. And I've gotten like 3 or 4 no's because basically the people are swamped at this time. And
right.
Like, it's all right. I don't mind. I'll find 100 people out of the millions on this planet. I'll find 100 people. It's not that hard.
Right. And don't get me wrong. I got turned down over the years. When I reach out to people, when you reach out to authors, they generally don't have the biggest name, but they may have a big topic that's great, reaches a lot of people, and they want to share it or they wouldn't wrote the book.
Yeah. So yeah, in my case, I've got everybody else reaching out for me right now. I've got more people who are calling other people going, hey, would you like this person? Hey, would you like this person? And it's like, it's a random idea of going out there. So the subject matter though, did you pick a subject matter for random or did you just go bizarre?
Well, for a while I just went bizarre, but then it evolved, and I saw too that no niche means no dollars, and I started trying to niche down into the entrepreneurial space, and now for the last 50, 60 episodes has been focused primarily on entrepreneurialism. There's some topics in there that will benefit entrepreneurs, but there's also some topics in there that I'm embarrassed that I even published the episode. You know what I mean? And I mean, they're still there, but they're nothing that I'm overly proud of. You know what I mean? I fell into a trap, and it's a trap that you just mentioned in that everybody's reaching out to me going, hey, we have this person on your show. Hey, I got a great guest for you. Hey, I got a great guest for you. Hey, how about this person? And I'm like, yes. I don't have to do any work. They're coming to me. Yeah. And that was dumb. So
that was a trap.
Yeah. And I fell in it just bigger than day. So, since then, right now, actually, my podcast, all the episodes are still readily available. But I'm on a hiatus. I'm not publishing anything till May 5th will be the next time I have an episode drop. A lot of it was to do with my voice. I was trying to get my voice to heal. And I got tired of telling people, yeah, we'll record on this day. And then going, no, voice isn't ready. We'll do it this day. No, voice isn't ready. So it's like today. I could have easily said, my voice isn't ready to talk to you, Tim. But I finally just come to grips with it. It is what it is. Alex Jones had a rough, gruff voice. I can be Alex Jones. I throw my hands around. Talk about aliens coming from space, Joe.
Careful, you might get kicked off YouTube. Anyway, well, if you've done some controversial things, you've probably anyway. And it's funny because yesterday being Easter, our kids came over and we were watching the Howard Stern movie.
Oh, it's a great movie.
I love that movie. Anyway, yeah, I wasn't a Howard Stern fan. That's what's funny. Anyway, but the concept he did is, I think, what got me. So anyway, you've developed over the years. You've got the podcast going. Are you helping other people do podcasts too, or?
Most definitely, man. I've got a course that I put together that does fairly well. It's out there on Udemy, and it's generally featured by Udemy, which isn't something that I can buy. It's just based on performance and ratings for the course. So I'm pretty proud of that one. I also wrote a book on podcasting, which not quite as proud of, but it was my first endeavor into writing an instructional over podcasting.
Mhm.
And it's funny because I hired a coach to do a book in 30 days. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but you know, if you know the tricks of the trade, you can write an Amazon #1 bestseller and you can be a nobody. But if you know how the system works, you can pick your categories to where you position yourself to be the bestseller in that category for 30 seconds, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter how long you're there. All you're trying to do is get the social proof that I had a #1 best-selling book on Amazon.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I managed to do that. And, you know, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to say. But I had joined a mastermind group to write this book in 30 days. And as it was my first book, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And 10 days in, we do kind of a check to see where we're at. And I read my manuscript, and it was more like the life and times of Larry Roberts.
Mhm.
And I would throw a little podcasting tidbit in there. And I realized this is not a podcasting book. This is more like an autobiography. So I
Mhm.
scrapped the whole thing. And I ended up writing a real podcasting book in 20 days.
Mhm.
So it was fast and it was furious and I was writing, but I got it done. I got it published and I got it to that #1 bestseller position within the podcasting category as well. So I didn't cheat. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't pick some, you know, arts and crafts for the blind type category where nobody's going to buy a book and I sell one book and I'm the #1 bestseller. I went to legitimate categories because I didn't want the fake win. It's just
Yeah.
not my gig. And so I did that and took a couple of screenshots, got the social proof, and now I'm excited. But the book definitely needs to some work. It definitely needs to be updated
Mhm.
and maybe even wiped off the planet and re-released as an all new book.
Yeah.
Which is probably where I'm going, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I got that whole thing outlined here is my next book. It's all outlined up on a whiteboard here. So it's
Oh,
like
cool.
I'm working on a book as it is. There's book #1, the red right there.
Okay.
I wrote that in 3 weeks.
There you oh, so here I am bragging and you did the same thing.
Well, 3 weeks. It took me 5 months to get it published, but I wrote it in 3 weeks.
But you got it published is the difference. You got it, you didn't self-publish.
Actually, no, I self-publish.
So you ended up
Well, I use a hybrid publisher out of New York.
Okay.
She does a lot of the stuff. She listed on Amazon. She does all that stuff for me, but I own the rights to it, type deal.
Yeah, right on. I dig that. That's kind of what I did with not even kind of. That's exactly what I did with my course.
Mm-hmm.
Is selling courses. There's of course there's ways to do it, and ways to not do it. And I definitely would have went the not how to do it route if I hadn't found Ellie and she helped me go through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I published with her as a co-publisher, but I have all the rights to it. I can do whatever I want with it, and she gets a cut of overall sales, which is fine with me. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's my first course. I definitely will have more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the perfect way to learn how to publish a book or publish a course or really publish anything that's out there is to, you know, get somebody to help you through it the first time,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're doing it right. Plus you can tap into their resources. You can tap into their network because you're paying them and they generally share their contacts with you. And it works out great for everybody.
Yeah.
And that I can't recommend that enough. You know, you could do the same thing with a podcast. If you've got somebody out there that wants to start a podcast and they're just not sure what steps to take, do the same thing.
Yeah.
Coach, hook up with that coach. I still have a podcasting coach that I paid big money for. I had to step up because I'm so good that I needed really the cat daddy. So I had to step. That was a joke, but I had to step up. Anytime I stroke my own ego, I'm really probably just joking. But notice probably.
Yeah.
I had to get one of the cat daddies of the podcast industry to be my coach because I had reached a certain level where I didn't know where to go next.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew where I wanted to get, but I didn't know what that path was. And, you know, I meet with him twice a month for a year. I secured him for a year. And we have get-togethers. We discuss this. Larry, take these steps, that step, do this, and we'll go from there. Mm-hmm. And it's helped tremendously. And I, you know, I know he has a coach as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to continue to grow, you have to always have somebody helping you along the way. You know, I mean, even look at the pro athletes. Pro athletes, do they have coaches? Of course they do. Are they going to be as good without that coach? Of course they're not. You know, is that coach telling them exactly what to do and how to do it? They've got some athletic ability that's built in there, you know? So it's a combination of the two, but they couldn't reach the pinnacle of where they're at without the coach. nor could the coach have somebody of their caliber on their team if it wasn't for the player. So you've got that symbiotic relationship there, and it's the same thing in anything. And I have no intentions of ever not having a coach.
Yeah. That's exactly what, I've got mentors, the same things, coaches, mentors, and I coach and mentor. And I think it's part of almost every presentation I do is tell people, you know what I mean? You need assets, you need help, you need discipline. Coach is always the discipline. Why I put the word discipline in there so you will get a coach.
Dude, discipline is what it's all about. I mean, if you look over here, look, I got a, this was my pride and joy.
Yeah.
The black belt. I got a second-degree black belt in American Kempo. Think I ever got there without discipline? Shoot, no.
Nope.
Ones and a lot of butt whoopings got me there eventually,
Yeah.
But it's still, if I was to go back and do martial arts again, I'd definitely want to coach.
Yeah. So, you're actually coaching others. You've coached people, all right, along the way. If you could go back to one and define one mentor that like gave you a direction in life, do you have one? And what did they tell you?
I've heard this same piece of advice from just about every coach I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to the presentation that you saw me do 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
In that I always try to be the person that's in the position that I want to be in. I don't try to achieve that position as Larry Roberts.
Mm.
The advice was to be yourself.
Mm.
Reach that point of accomplishment as yourself. Be yourself. You're not going to be John Doe that's up here already rocking the house.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be Larry doing a really, really bad impression of John Doe, and you're never going to rock the house. You might get up there a little ways. You might even ride on their coattails if you get John Doe to be your coach. I've done that many, many times and think I'm the cat daddy already because I'm with the cat daddy of whatever it is that I'm trying to do. But it don't work that way because guess what? They're still cat daddy, and here's Larry doing something else.
Yeah.
Be yourself, man, 100%. Yeah. Don't fall prey to the paranoia that's out there.
Yeah.
Be yourself, set yourself apart, do your thing. I don't know anybody else in podcasting that does it kind of like I do it. I've got my own personality. I've got my own brand. I'm loud. I'm gruff sometimes. Occasionally I might even slip in a cuss word or something. You never can tell.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might throw on a mullet and do my Joe Exotic or Larry Exotic impression. I don't know. That might happen too. Yeah. So, matter of fact, I might do one here in a bit after we hang up here. I might do it. Oh, Larry Exotic might show up here on the YouTubes. I don't know, but have you seen my video?
I've not. Again, I did like a little bit of research. I'm like, I'm gonna get to know this guy on camera.
Oh my god! So you know who Joe Exotic is, right?
Yeah.
Have you watched the series?
I've not watched the series.
Dude, please introduce yourself to some real culture and watch. Oh my God. Dude. And it's close to where we're at. It was just across the border in Oklahoma when all this stuff went down.
Yeah.
There's a tiger zoo farm up there. But anyways, he's a larger than life personality that's just dumb as a box of rocks. And anyways, I fell in love with him, not literally, but figuratively. And I started doing my own Joe Exotic impressions and personalities. So I made me a hat. It's back here behind me. I made me a hat, put me a mullet on there. I got me some clip-on eyebrow rings because he's got his eyebrows pierced and crazy shirts. It's just nuts. And I did a couple of videos on Facebook and YouTube of Larry Exotic. I've even got an overlay that I use when I do it. Let me see if I can show you here.
Wow.
There we go. Larry Exotic right there. That's me.
That is cool.
So yeah, man, I do things my way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And really, I kind of knew that when I seen you, and I'm like, this guy's kind of like my kind of people because he's done things his own way. And yes, I do things my way. I'm gonna be like Frank. I'm gonna die doing it my way.
There you go. I do it my way.
Yeah. So I got to say hi to my cousin Rich, kicking in here. I know he's not on the beach, but anyway.
What's up, Rich?
It's my cousin Cindy's husband, Rich. So he's a good guy up there in Scranton, Dunmore, Pennsylvania. So
up in Scranton. All right, cool.
Yeah, that's where I'm from, Scranton.
Oh, really?
That's cool. And you thought Oklahoma was bad.
Really?
Who am I to judge Oklahoma? I came from Scranton.
Bro, hey, Oklahoma's a different animal, man. That place is unique. So, being so close to the border, we would go across the border to Oklahoma. They were a little more lax when it came to buying cold beer underage at the time, and you could go right across the lake/river there, and there was a little spot that would sell you some underage cold beer, and we'd go over there and party our backsides off.
Of course, it was 3-2 beer.
Yes.
It was a lower alcohol range.
You're in high school, you don't care. You're like, oh,
I got beer.
Yeah, you're just partying. You're thinking you're the cat daddy right there, but you're not even drunk. It's kind of like when
it's kind of like getting that. Wait a minute. It's kind of like getting that alcohol-free beer, and you don't know it.
And you don't know it. Yeah, it's exactly what I was going to say. It's kind of like I used to sell. This is so bad. I've gotten in trouble a lot over the years. Okay, folks, I do some things. I don't endorse this, but I was about 13 and, going to the skating rink at the time. And I don't know if you know this, but oregano smells similar to another leafy substance that's not legal in Texas yet. But I would sell pre-rolled cigarettes of this particular herb. And then they would go out in the parking lot of the skating rink and, they'd hit it a couple of times and go, oh, dude, I'm so high. This is crazy. Man. This is great, man. And they're freaking smoking oregano. So, but, well, yeah, dude, it's crazy. This stuff is the bomb. I love it. Oh, knowing the whole time I'm just taking them dollars. So, yeah.
Cha-ching. All right. As Bill Tom would have his cha-ching button going.
I don't know if I've shared that story on a podcast yet. So there's an exclusive.
I get one exclusive at least. So, well, Larry, this is really fun. I want to go on with this for hours. I mean, just go on with stories.
I got plenty of them, man. I got plenty of them.
Yeah.
Look, your brother-in-law is Joe Exotic is balls out. Most definitely.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So anyway,
where do we go now, brother?
So first of all, let me get rid of your website out there. Let them know what your website is in case they want to connect with you, contact with you, see what you's all about. So
one of the big things that I'm doing right now is I do custom one sheets for speakers.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not familiar with a one sheet, it's basically a media kit type scenario where it gives just a summary of you, what you do, some questions that you might be asked on interviews, and some of your accomplishments, maybe if you want to include those. But mine are very unique, which is kind of weird considering it's me. But yeah, the ones that I do, they're 100% original. They're not just the basic geometric shapes with your picture on there. I mean, these things are works of art. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm tooting my own horn. Mm-hmm. So if you see it, you're going to want one. And right now I'm running a sale. They're normally $199. Yeah, that's how proud I am of them. But now you can get it for $99. So that's kind of a cool. Go to readilyrandom.com, check it out, and hope to hear from you.
Yeah. So, it's like we all have a specialty, and that's your specialty where you can get to figure out how to make them look cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of artwork is kind of my gig.
Cool. Well, it has been interesting having you on the show, Larry, but, I've got to wrap it up, and,
it is.
I got my game here.
Let's play it, brother. Let's get it. Oh yeah. Let's get it.
So we do about 9 questions of this or that, all right, where I choose randomly things and I make our guests actually tell us which one they prefer. So today, just want to give you some good ones here, Larry.
Do it.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, I'm a wars kind of guy.
Okay, Star Wars.
That's the way, brother.
First trilogy or second one?
First, man. Come on, I'm 47, brother. I ain't trying to do that new stuff. That's horrible. We're gonna listen to politics for 3 hours. If I want to watch C-SPAN.
All right, this next one here may be a little bit up your alley, may not, but Batman or Superman?
Oh, bro. I mean, can you not see behind me? Batman's everywhere. I mean,
yeah,
Batman's everywhere. It's crazy. I've always loved Batman. It's kind of weird. I don't know why, but I mean, when I was like, there's a picture of me when I'm like 3, and I have a Batman T-shirt on, and I mean, I don't remember wearing it, but it's right there,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, then next one we're gonna ask here is the beach or mountains?
Man, that's tough. I'll say mountains. I mean, it's not that tough.
You gotta go to and I kind of know this next one, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Taco or hamburger?
How do you know this one? I don't know, because I don't even know this one. I'm gonna go burger though, man. I'm gonna go burger.
I figured you were a burger guy.
Yeah, I'm a burger
Like,
guy. Yeah. Big fat Texan, you can't have tacos. You gotta have a burger, man. Get it out.
You were all right. If you grew up on the southern side of Texas, you might be taco. But dude, you're close to Oklahoma. There's too much food up there, man.
We gotta fire up the charcoal, get it nice and hot, and make you a good old burger.
Yeah. How about this one? Simpsons or South Park?
I'll go South Park. I mean, they ended up being my favorite overall. Now, obviously, The Simpsons last. I can remember being at home and I dated this chick at the video store, if y'all remember what those are. Mm-hmm. And there was 6 foot, like those cardboard cutouts you'd see in there. She had a Bart Simpson in there. And I finagled my way into that Bart Simpson. And I can remember it being in my bedroom while I still lived at home, sitting right there. Now, you take that and you go, man, when did The Simpsons go off? Last year, maybe year before last?
Yeah, I thought they were still in the air. So yeah,
maybe they are. I don't know, but that's just insane to have a show that was on when he was in high school or just shortly out of high school go all the way to adulthood. That's just insane. But I still go South Park.
Yeah. So the next one here is coffee or tea.
Monster.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna have beer or wine, but I know you don't drink.
Yeah, but I do. I drink a ton of Monsters. Go figure.
I should have went Monsters or Red Bull. That's what I heard.
Now I do Monster. Yeah, definitely.
I should have put that in there as a question.
Yeah,
huh?
That'd have been perfect.
Yeah. I know you got to have some computers to run this podcast. So are you a Mac guy or a PC guy?
PC, man. I've never even owned a Mac.
Never owned a Mac.
I've never made the switch.
Wow.
Never made the switch. Yeah. Are you on Mac?
I'm on Mac. Yeah.
Really?
Everything I do is Mac.
I think all serious content creators are on Macs. But I'm surrounded right now. I have 3 PCs in this room, and it's hotter than Hades. But in my studio, I've got 3 PCs set up, and it's just rocking and rolling.
The thing I don't like about Mac is my desktop that I'm on is I found out only has 8 gig of RAM. Really freaking small, and that's all desktop Macs. That's all they come with. You've got to upgrade. I never knew it when I got it, and I was shocked. How come this thing's getting slower and slower and slower? But my laptops kick ass because I custom built my laptop.
Oh, I got you right.
Yeah. So anyway, this next one here could be a little war right about now.
Uh-oh.
It is one of the most controversial questions I understand by Scott McCain can be asked on a radio interview to get people to actually call in. And that is toilet paper, under or over.
Don't even talk to me about it, man. It's over. Oh, it's over the top, man. You can't go under. You just can't do it. That's un-American. That is straight up some third world country garbage that got brought over here and it's stuck and it's just ridiculous. No, you have to put it over the top.
So I had a girl on last week who said that if her boyfriend, she starts dating a guy, and after the 3rd time of going to his house, that's it. She's breaking up with him.
I heard that with it. See, I've been listening to you, brother. I know what's up.
She's now the most quoted person, and it's all because of that question.
That is so funny.
Yeah. So the last one, which you probably know, boxers or briefs.
Well, I heard somebody say it the other day, and I was like, "That dude, he's got it. It's a boxer brief kind of world, man.
Yeah.
Where we're at." I went through a phase, of course, as a little kid, you're doing the whole whitey tighty thing or tighty whitey thing, and then when I sold cars, found out the slick way to do it was with silk boxers. Did that for a while, and then once the boxer briefs came out, I was like, "Oh, this is it right here. This is how you do it."
Yep. A lot more comfortable to me.
Yeah.
Not that hard, is it? See.
No, I think I passed. I think I got an A.
A plus, something. Yeah, you're in the top 10 out of 9 questions.
Nice.
So one more time, Larry, tell them your website so they can hear it on the audio and everything. And
yeah, man, it's readilyrandom.com, READILY random.com. Go out there, check it out. All of my current episodes are available right there on the website. If you don't want to go to the website, just go to iTunes. You can find me on iTunes under Readily Random with Larry Roberts. And I look forward to hearing from you. So I appreciate the opportunity here.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming on the show today, Manny. Hey, it's fun. We're going to have to do something like this again. So
we'll have to reverse roles. You got to come on my show now.
Okay, man. You bet.
We'll
as soon as you're up and rolling next episode, I'm in. So
boom, we'll be there. All right, man. I appreciate it, Tim.
All right, guys, another episode of Tim Gillette Show in the books, and we will see you guys later. Thank you all for coming. Be sure to subscribe and tell everyone about our broadcast. I'll see you next time on the next show. Bye-bye.